welcome to WorldSimSeries and welcome to the Porsche Street Cup here from Mount Panorama, Bathurst. It's a new series on WorldSimSeries, a new championship for the next 12 weeks. The race is running every 2 weeks, and as the title suggests, we've got street circuits and we've got Porsche Cup cars. We're at Bathurst Mount Panorama, then heading to Baku. So the first two very quick street circuits, and then we head to Long Beach in Southern California. Then it's the Barcelona City Circuit. That's a fantasy track in the championship. Then it's Macau, and then the season ends in Monaco. As we are heading towards the end of the qualifying session, it will be interesting how the drivers deal with these tight street circuits. Well, Bathurst, it is a street circuit. I'd say the first two ones are definitely closest to a purpose-built venue. It's quite wide for a street circuit, but it's extremely high speed, so the walls close in on you quickly, as Matas Mendeles at the moment leads the qualifying session by just 0.2 of a second ahead of Gubarez and Sendersky, but the lap times will drop as drivers gain confidence. It's only a 10-minute qualifying session and quite a bit of traffic for some of the drivers as well. A little bit of a wall rub there, and as always, I'm joined by Laurinas.
Welcome everyone, welcome to the opening round of the Porsche Street Cup as we try to challenge the very difficult Bathurst racetrack, but as Gustas already mentioned, that's not gonna be the most difficult track of the calendar. Every track is challenging, including the Macau Grand Prix, which will definitely be a bigger challenge than the Bathurst, and for the finals, the Monaco Grand Prix. I really want to see how the race will pan out there, especially with this type of racing. It's gonna be a 30 minutes race. Every driver will have only a couple of chances to do better if they fail in the qualifying session. No mandatory pit stops, no strategy game here, just pure speed, and everything goes to the driver. The setups are fixed. Basically, there is nothing what the drivers can change in their cars except for ABS, fuel level, brake bias, and traction control together with brake power. So actually no ABS here on these cars, just brake bias, brake power and traction control. So just a couple of ticks and everything else goes into the hands of the drivers into the 30 minutes plus the 10 minutes of qualifying session. And Matas Mendeles is currently in the lead, but as we've seen, things can change pretty quickly on these street circuits. We have 33 drivers here in this opening round, maybe 32 drivers. So that means every driver is at risk to get stuck behind slower drivers, and Adam Kashani sets the pace now, who takes the provisional pole position. Matas Mendeles was pretty fast. He is still pretty fast, nailing the first sector. And Gubarevs also showed strengths of pace. And Kajoni and Mendeles, they race for Cup Pro Plus class, while Gubarevs and Jofert, they are Cup... actually Gubarevs is Pro M and Jofert is M class driver.
Categories may change, and as they often do throughout the season, to get the drivers more balanced. Mendeles comes out on to the back straight, out of Forest elbow. That's a difficult wall that gets closer and closer.
0-0-0.
He's equal, and we saw a mistake heading down Skyline through the S's. It looked like he just outbraked himself a little bit, but it is equal as he comes in through the chase, well, into the chase, and through the chicane he goes into the final turn. There's not much time to be gained here, but he doesn't need much. If he was equal, he just needs to be in front by a tiny, tiny bit. 1,000 would be enough. And it is enough, and it's actually by 0.2 of a second, so big improvement. But we'll see if Kashoni can do anything. He did start the lap before the timer elapsed. Gubarevs, he is into the pits. Jofert's still out on track. Kashoni still out on track, and I would say Kashoni is the last one who could look at beating Mendeles.
Yep, Joffert is also still on his fast lap, I believe, but well, he's currently 7/10 of pace, so you wouldn't expect too much from Joffert here, especially as he's a M-class driver, M-category driver. Everyone is in the same boats, driving the same cars, and yep, Kashoni,
No improvement.
Yep, no improvement actually. Gubarev stays third, and Joffert is the one to finish off this race. We have plenty of drivers here coming into the first round.
Big jump over that curb. Don't need to touch those curbs, and he bails out of that lap. I think that curb strike had to have done, well, not damage, but should have damaged his lap time. As we can have a look at the standings. Qualifying standings and the qualifying results. Mendeles on pole ahead of Kashoni, Gubarevs, Joffert, Spon. That's your top 5. Mendeles takes pole in Pro Plus. Pro Am pole is by Gubarevs, and then Joffert in Am. Pro Am of Spon in P5. Then heading down P6 for Sendersky. Then it's O'Brien, Lavelle, Kravchuk, and Venuti in 10th. And it's a whole grid of 32 cars out on track. We've actually got 2 divisions and another 9 cars in Division 2. So nice to see big turnout for what is quite a difficult racing series. And only the top 6 in a single second. So not a super close field, but that's to be expected on a track this difficult. At least we hope we can get some good racing here tonight.
Oh, definitely. I'm pretty sure the racing will be exciting, especially as the cars, all the drivers will start the race on cold tires. No ABS system here on these Porsche Cup cars, so the drivers will have to be very gentle.
They do have ABS.
Do they have ABS? Okay.
Yes. They can adjust ABS, so they definitely have ABS. As we get ready to go for round 1 of the Porsche Street Cup in this season on WorldSimSeries. Oh, we've seen a jump start from somebody in the back, definitely, as we get going. Mendeles doesn't get a great start as Kashoni's able to go side by side down into turn 1, but Mendeles holds the inside line and keeps the lead. A little bit of a wiggle, and that might be a chance to slipstream up the straight here. And, well, once they get to the mountain, it's pretty much positions locked, at least for the top guys. I'm going to guess there might be some more side-by-side action further down the field. Mendeles just about holds on. Kashoni can't get close enough, and it's side by side as that was Cavasalis going off, Vig going off. They make it free wide as they're going to go into the cutting, and, well, somebody has to back out. Vig goes in, still side by a few cars. Somehow they managed to get through cleanly. We haven't seen any real incident. We saw a car off wide, but that's nothing as everybody slots in now. Oh, as, well, that's the commentator's curse. There is an accident right up in front, and everybody, more accidents up in front. And, well, that sometimes happens here at Bathurst. Traffic jams do happen, as that's Marco.
Oh, and he needs to find the right direction here on this tight street circuit in Bathurst.
Lucky that he's got a lot of time until anybody else approaches him, especially the leaders approach him. So they've got a lot of time. That's the good thing about having a very long track like we do here at Bathurst, over 2 minutes in lap time, as they go up and down the Conrad Straight. but looks like nobody really close enough to make a move. Slipstream-wise, have to be really brave breaking into the chase. It's flat out through the right-hand kink. It's flat out in most modern race cars, definitely flat out in this, as they head into the braking zone to complete lap 1 of, I'm gonna guess 14 or so? Should be around 14 laps in this race. And Mendelis holds the lead, 0.75 at the top, 0.8 now, and another second back is Gubarev's. So the front three have extended their gaps. Jofert is behind Sendersky, so he's lost that position. That is, however, not a position in terms of standings, because Jofert is an AM, Pro-Am for Sendersky.
Yep, as they slot now behind each other. Oh, Matas Mendelis looks like he made a small mistake. He had a slightly bigger gap by the end of the previous lap, while Vlasak has completed his drive-through penalty for the jump start. Matas Mendelis, well, I think he's a little bit faster here on this mountain section when it's going up and down the hill. He lost a little bit of time on the opening corners of the second lap. Still can feel pretty comfortable by himself, so he just needs to hold on to that pace, try to avoid mistakes, and it's looking really promising for Matas Mendelis. Of course, it's only the start of the first round, and after the first round will finish, the first three drivers of first division will receive the ballast of performance, meaning that for the second round the top three finishers will have a heavier car. So sometimes you have good luck in one race, but then you have a heavier car and you start to struggle. But this is the opening round and pure pace for the drivers. Jofert goes for a move on Sendersky onto the inside into the chicane and still stays behind. So nice defensive driving by Sendersky. He definitely chose his lines wisely and managed to fend off the attacks. So Kashoni making a faster lap time, but just by a tiny bit, just by 0.08 of a second. And still is chasing Matas Mendelis for the first round win. The move needs to be made on the track by pure driver skill. So whether the drivers who are chasing can force the drivers ahead into mistakes, wait for their chance and go for a move, or they can plan their exits a little bit better than the rivals and then try to go for a move on the next corners.
It's really difficult to make a move here. To make an honest move on pace, you have to have a pretty big pace delta to have a chance at making a move. You've only really got a few opportunities. Best one heading down the Conrad Straight into the chase. That's your best opportunity. You're not really going to make a move up the mountain. You might try something through the cutting, but somebody has to make a mistake before. So really, this track... Oh, and that we're talking about mistakes. Lavelle just about holds on, and well, sideways through McPhillamy Park. Not often does it end up with the car in one piece. He's only lost a single position. Consider yourself lucky there. Wow. Really incredible to see somebody go full drift at the top of the mountain. Doesn't happen often, but
nice save. That was definitely a nice save.
Wasn't expecting a save there. I was expecting that car to be in the wall. As they go down the straight a little bit too far away, I think, to make a real move here on Lapo. And yep, too far away. Maybe still shaking a little bit from what happened at the top of the mountain, but you have to get those spots off. And I think side by side for the lead could be. They were super close. It is super close. So Kashoni has gotten that gap down to 0.3 of a second. Much quicker through the last lap, half a second gained, and now he's on the tail. They've got Gubarev's there as well, so Gubarev's no slouch. He's still there, only 6/10 back, and I think these guys went side by side or something close to that into turn one. That's why the gap has decreased behind as well, as they go on to the mountain. So here you're not really going to make any moves, and Mendeles has actually gained time because Gubarev has caught up to Kishoni, and Kishoni has dropped that gap to Mendeles. It's hard to follow as Mendeles super close to the wall. I think he's scraped off the mirror there for sure. As now you go down here, you feel weightless. The car doesn't want to turn, it doesn't want to stop, it doesn't want to do anything except try and hit a wall, but you have to keep it straight. And here it's all about the exit. Keep tight to the right-hand side and then try and get the exit as that wall approaches you. You saw from Gubarev's, he was just a little bit offline. He couldn't get the apex. And then that outside wall gets closer and closer to you. That's how you lose time on an exit, and that's how you give up an opportunity to overtake. Kishoni did well, and he actually closed in on Mendeles, but still just that little bit too far away to challenge for the lead. Looking back from the rear wing of Mendeles, that car looks a little bit lively. It looks like he's sliding around with 21 minutes still to go in this one. Brakes for the final turn on power, and well, that is fastest lap of the race once again from Kishoni, 106.189. They break down into turn one. A little bit of a curb strike there from Kishoni, and that's not going to help his exit. A little bit of breathing room for Mendeles, and it's all about putting pressure on the car ahead. With these guys, they're both running quick. There's not that much of a chance to actually make a move. So you've got to force your rival into a mistake, preferably somewhere close to Forrest's elbow.
Maybe Matas Mendeles, well, he's just trying to control the pace and think about the longevity of his tires. Maybe he takes the risk to have Kishoni a little bit closer to the opening laps of this race, just to make his life a little bit harder, maybe force Kishoni into wearing off those tires a little bit faster, and then he might try to open up the pace, because he was definitely fast in the qualifying session, but you never know. The race pace, the full fuel tanks for the cars, well, you don't need a full fuel tank here. Do you? Yeah, fuel usage is 100%, so you definitely don't need a full fuel tank for the Porsche. So the cars started the race with, well, basically half of the fuel tank, everyone with the same setup. So maybe Matas Mendeles has something interesting going in his mind, definitely controlling the car nicely.
The pressure, because, I mean, he's making mistakes. That car looks on edge at all times. We see it, especially at the top of the mountain. You can really see that car moving around, getting super close to the walls. And here as well, it doesn't look like it's perfect, so I doubt that he's saving anything. Kishoni has dropped back a little bit, though, but it's not a comfortable gap where you might have to get out of some commitment. Mendeles this time, though, fastest lap of the race, he's turned up the pace.
Yep, so he was
not a big difference.
Well, he was 2/10 faster than Kishoni, and he was 2/10 faster than Gubarev's. Do we have the right information? Yep, so Kishoni and Gubarev's, they made quite similar lap times, well, basically identical lap times. Matas Mendeles gained a bit. So the main rival for Matas Mendeles in this battle is Adam Kishoni, while Gubarev's, he just sits there and I think he waits for his occasion. He's still in the lead of the Pro-Am class with Sandersky not too far behind. Less than 2 seconds separate the first Pro-Am and the second Pro-Am driver. And then in fifth we have Jofert, who is the M leader. So top 5 drivers, they line up from 3 different categories. Then with Leo Bryan, Pro Plus driver, in 6th, but 3rd in his class. Kvasalis is currently 7th, and he's 2nd in the M class. And further down the field we need to search for the next M drivers. Wig is 8th in the overall standings, and he's 3rd in the Pro M class. So 3 categories here offered for the drivers. Season is long, and sometimes we see the drivers migrate between the categories, between the races. For example, I don't see Jofert staying for too long in the M class in this championship. He's basically better than all the field. He's just slower than 4 cars, and he is held as a M driver. I think that's gonna change for the next race.
I think a lot of upgrades to Pro Plus, I'm going to guess. As Mendeles passes lap of the race once again, he's gotten into a rhythm.
Yeah, but it wasn't not by much. Cascioni was also very fast.
Another 10th. Mendeles losing time in Sector 1, then gains back the time. Actually, that was Mendeles gaining time in Sector 1 and losing time then up the mountain. Here's Vig versus Kvasalis, who goes wide up in front, and this is going to be opportunity for Vig behind as he goes to the outside. Not the preferred line in to Quarry Bend, but let's see what he can do here. Side by side behind as well. On the brakes, he's going to try and hold it around the outside. Will Wig, and he's still side by side now. He's got the advantage into the cutting and goes down the inside, gets the move done, and Venuti, I believe, almost gets the position. They're going to go side by side. Somebody's going to have to back out, and Venuti does. Smart play by him. And now he's under pressure from behind from Sarma, but Sarma would have to be really crazy to try and make a move up here, and they slot back in to position. But that was a good gain from Vig, who got past and now has got a 1 second advantage. So good breathing room for him in 7th, but actually his pass on Kvasalis was not for class position. And the 2 cars behind are not for class position either, a little bit wide, and this is going to compromise his exit. Super close to the wall, but kind of got pushed out to it.
They lost a lot of time. The driver in 11th, Kravchuk, he was much further down behind these drivers battling. Look, he's now right on the tail of Sarma. So the drivers, while battling each other, I think they lost roughly 2 seconds, and no one wants to lose the position here, including Kvasalis. He's currently 8th overall from 32 drivers. He's an M-class driver, but if he performs well here in this round, he might be transferred to the Pro M class. Well, you never know. So I think what every driver from the lower tier categories are all doing here, just trying to finish as high as possible in case they will get transferred into higher classes. And wow, Kvasalis runs wide on the exit of turn 1. Once again, Venuti has a very nice chance here. Look at the pace difference. Kvasalis definitely was on fire. He was too early on throttle. That didn't help him with the exit this time.
That was tight as well. Kvasalis gave enough space, and he's actually gone too wide and too slow and gives up the position again. And now down to P10, so quite a few positions lost. And actually this one, well, he didn't really need to lose this one because he just went too slow. It was just too slow. And, well, that's good news for Vig, who's got 3.5.
Oh, Kravchuk into the wall.
Big smack of the wall by Kravchuk there. But survives for now. Lucky that the AC damage model is not super punishing. Normally you would have taken off the wheel of that car if you smacked that wall so hard. These aren't tire barriers these are just concrete walls. And car versus concrete wall. Concrete wall wins.
Yep, so Kvasal is
Ooh,
currently second
Mac.
in the M class. I wonder how much time he's losing here to his main rivals, but well, the closest rival for Kvasal in the M class, I think, finds himself in 21st position overall. So Kvasal needs just to figure out his mission, what he's here for. He doesn't need to take too much risks. As an M driver, he's still performing very well in this race. He needs just to kind of find the rhythm as we head over to the battle for the lead. And there's a lapped car right in front of Matas Mendeles, who was off the racetrack and still got back on it. Tries to give enough of room for the leaders, and he will have a very slow lap here if he needs, and if he wants to let everyone pass. That's gonna be a very long lap, and oh, you don't need to go too slow on the racetrack when you are being waved the blue flag. Sometimes it's even more dangerous than just to stay on your tracks. Oh, and he goes on the braking, and that's already too generous. This generosity is creating a little bit of dangerous situations. As Matas Mendeles, did he go sideways here when we started going down the hill? I mean, he's definitely on limit.
That's how it looked like before. Looks like he's continuing that. You do have to be on the limit here, but it's very easy then to make a mistake and go over that limit. And once you do, it's normally game over here at Bathurst. Sendersky doing a good job to kind of keep up with this pack. He's not getting too close. He's not closing in, that's for sure. But he's in a comfortable P4. P5 is much further back. And just needs to stay with this lead group. Maybe, if these three guys in front start battling very hard, he's got a chance of a podium, maybe even a win sometimes if too many accidents happen. Here's Kravchuk going to the outside of Venuti through the kink of the chase and gets the position even before the braking zone. So Venuti looks like he may be lifted, and Sendersky fastest lap of the race, wow. 2 minutes 5.474. Good job as he starts to pull the gap down to the leaders. Could he have been saving a little bit more tire life than the guys in front? Could be. And if he did, well, he's got a very good opportunity if somebody makes a mistake.
Well, he's definitely there within the range of battling for the overall win of this race. Even though it doesn't matter for the drivers, they are racing for their individual categories. But look at Sendersky. It looks like he definitely saved a little bit of more of that tire. The tire wear is 200%, so the drivers definitely need to be a little bit more careful on the tires. Well, 30 minutes looks to be more than enough even for the 200% tire wear, but all those slides or scrubbing of the rubber into the asphalt while attacking at a little bit higher speed, they can kill your tire a little bit faster than you would like, and that might give a driver advantage on the final stint of this race. By the way, we just started the final 10 minutes of the Porsche Street Cup Championship opening round at Bathurst Mount Panorama Circuit located in Australia. I don't think there's any racing fan out there who doesn't know this famous racetrack, a very dangerous venue, but this championship is all about driver skills, and every racing track on the calendar will be a street racetrack. Whether it's located in Australia, United States or Europe, we will definitely have some interesting battles. This track is one of the easier ones on the calendar, which sounds definitely a little bit strange.
Yep, it's definitely one of the wider ones and more traditional ones, which more drivers know. Long Beach will be a very interesting one. I think that one, well, it is quite wide, but you've got a lot of those walls coming at you on the exits, and well, Macau will be all about the drivers. It's going to be, it's almost impossible to overtake at Macau. You can overtake it down at turn 3, but apart from that, it's all single file. So there, qualifying will be crucial. As now, Gubarev's all over the back of Khashoggi. Looks like he's made a mistake as he's lost quite a bit of time to Mendelis. 2 seconds back from Mendelis, and Gubarev's on his tail. And again, sometimes when you make a single mistake, you may make a few more, and now it's big pressure. There's no pressure on Gubarev's because Sendersky 1.5 back doesn't really have an opportunity to do anything here. So it's all about Gubarev's getting a good exit here, and both of them get a good one. And 0.4 of a second, I think that's just too far away. I don't think Khashoggi will be under pressure into the braking zone, and he might be able to get away. He was quicker throughout most of the race.
Yeah, there are a couple of very important spots on this racetrack where a driver needs to do the maximum best that he can. One of the corners is the exit from the mountain section, which is called the Forest's Elbow. If a driver comes a little bit too hot-headed into that corner, his rival could have a chance into the chase. Matas Mendelis doesn't think anything about it, and he just set another fastest lap time of this race so far. As we get a comparison of the last lap, both Gubarevs and Khashoggi were slower than Matas Mendelis on the previous lap, including Khashoggi being very slow. He was 5/10 slower than Gubarevs, and he was 1.3 seconds slower than Matas Mendelis. So maybe Matas Mendelis did save his tires. Well, look, he's in the lead. He didn't have any vehicle in front of him, so he could manage his tires, even though it looked like he's on the edge of the grip within every section of the circuit. He still had the clear air in front of him, and he was the only one in control of his tires. Other drivers have followed him quite closely. That might have burned out those tires a little bit more quicker. And now with 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go, I think Matas Mendelis can simply relax and just try to feather it to the finish line, as Khashoggi and Gubarevs are in a battle, but it's not for position. Well, it's for an overall position, but both drivers are on separate categories. With Sendersky in 4th, he tries to chase down Gubarev. So Gubarevs, he has the ability to not attack Khashoggi, but he is in the risk to be chased down by Sendersky, which would be a position change in the Pro-M class, that would be a lead change. I wonder what's going through the minds of the drivers right now at this moment, as they definitely try to think about the finish of this race. With the time ticking out, this is a very short sprint race for the Porsches, and the drivers are definitely on a 100% attack mode here around the Bathurst circuit.
Somebody coming out of the pits, so lap traffic coming into effect.
Oh, yep, and Matas Mendelis, he was lucky. He got around that lapped car, which is Dautartas. This is a Pro-M driver who probably found himself in a wall somewhere around the circuit, which is quite easily achievable. And then he was forced to go into the pit lane. We have Young standing in the pits. I think his race is basically over. I'm not sure if he's gonna come back on the track. Lapo in 13th. Pro-M driver is stuck behind Molodan, a Pro Plus driver. This is a battle for P12.
Battle for 12, and actually Molodan a Pro Plus car, Lapo a Pro Am car, so not really for any meaningful position. Only an overall position outside of the top 10, so not expecting too many risks by the drivers. This battle has definitely calmed down. Sendersky has lost a little bit of that crazy pace that he had for about a lap or two, and he's dropped back, but he's got Jofert another 6 seconds behind, so not really under pressure there. This is Inosaitis versus Sarman. This is a battle for position, Pro-Am versus Pro-Am, and a battle for top 10 overall as well. That's, even if it's not an important position, so to say, in terms of overall, but because they don't get any points for overall, but it's a nice thing to be top 10 overall.
And his main rival still is his category driver. Sarma is in the same category as Janušaitis. I'm not sure which position they are actually battling for, but Janušaitis, he feels that he has the pace advantage. Whoa! Some interesting moves taking place on the racetrack. First, Sarma went defensive, and then he kind of got back into the middle of the track. That's when Janušaitis thought that he has the best chance of a move here. That didn't happen. Both drivers lost quite a lot of time here. And the next car behind them is Molodan, while Lapo lost a little bit of ground here, but Molodan, Pro Plus driver, he's suddenly in the mood to battle for P10 overall. Both of the drivers ahead of him are Pro M drivers, which are not his direct rivals, but well, you can definitely have a little bit of enjoyment in those battles on the circuit. Oh, Molodan goes pretty wide here on the cutting corner.
Yep. A little bit wide, but here's Mendeles, so he'll start the last lap of the race as he crosses the line. He's got a bit of traffic in front, but I don't think he's really going to reach it unless the driver in front does make a pretty large mistake. So should be fine as Mendeles comes out of the chase. And will start his final lap of the race, 3.5 ahead of Kashoni. So Mendeles has gotten into a rhythm here. And Kashoni just couldn't match it. He had the pace, but started making mistakes, and those mistakes meant him losing time. Gubarev's kind of had a chance at one point, but just didn't really have that pace overlap.
This is Vlasak, car number 32, running in 25th place. He's not too far ahead of Matas Mendeles, and I think Matas Mendeles might be a little bit concerned here, though I think in a sprint race those blue flags have a different meaning, and no one wants to go into anyone's way, especially into the way of the leaders. So that shouldn't be too big of a problem for Matas Mendeles, especially with that 3.6 second gap. As Gubarevs makes a little bit of ground here in the battle for P3. I think Kashoni struggles here a bit, but as mentioned before, Gubarevs, he doesn't need to overtake Kashoni. He's still in the lead of the Pro-Am class. Wow, Matas Mendeles definitely on a nicer pace than Vlasak, and Vlasak does what he needs to do. As soon as he saw the blue flags waved at him, he moved to the right side, made plenty of space for Matas Mendeles to go around. Maybe Matas lost just a little bit of time. He was a little bit more cautious than he would have needed to, and he's off and away into that final section of the racetrack, final corners of the opening round. I think there is nothing in between the win and Matas Mendeles here tonight. as Matas Mendeles is looking to have the heaviest car for the second round, which will take place at the streets of Baku.
The lap traffic moving out of the way as Mendeles 3.2 ahead of everyone. And he looked under pressure for once, but held on. Mendeles takes race number 1 at Bathurst. And Khashoggi will come home in second. Then it will be Gubarevs, Sendersky, and Vlasak.
Yeah, Vlasak is a lap down. Yeah, that's gonna be... The order is gonna be shuffled a little bit around because we have lapped cars here on the leaderboard crossing the line. I think Joffert is 5th and O'Brien is 6th. So both Joffert is the winner of the M class, while O'Brien is the P3 finisher of the Pro Plus class. And yep, Quasalis is gonna be the next driver to cross the line. He's 8th, and wow, actually he's 7th. Did we lose a couple of drivers? I wonder how Quasalis managed to get back from... I think he dropped to P10 at one point. Oh, okay, maybe this is wrong information. We need to go and check out the results on the official WorldSimSeries website.
In
8th, yep. Yeah. So the race is still on, I believe. Are there any drivers still on the racetrack? A couple of them.
Well, yep. You can see one car out in Forest's Elbow, but in terms of the top 10, we're all done. It's Mendeles ahead of Khashoggi and ahead of Gubarevs, who wins Pro Am. 3rd in Pro Plus is actually Leo Bryan in 6th position overall. 2nd in Pro-Am and 4th in overall, it's Sendersky. And then comes the winner in Am, and that's a Joffert. P3 in Pro-Am and 7th overall, Kravchuk. And Quasalis takes P2 in Am. Then it's Sarma and Molodan in 10th position overall and 4th in Pro Plus. Now I'm trying to look for another Am car. And that would be
P18. That's
Kirkis.
Yep.
And 18. So 5th, 8th, and 18th. So I'm sure those two in 5th and 8th will be looking at an upgrade, at least the Pro-Am. And I'm sure Gubarevs and Sendersky are on their way to a Pro upgrade as well. And in 2 weeks' time, we're heading out to Baku for the Baku Street Circuit. Should be an interesting race in these Porsche Cup cars. A lot of slipstream. And if you want to join, just head on over to WorldSimSeries.com and join the Porsche Street Cup. But that is all for tonight. See you in 2 weeks' time. Good night.
Have a good evening and see you in 2 weeks.